Tonight on The Buzz, Tim Dashwood is a director, a DP, and an editor with over 20 years experience in the industry. He's also the founder of Dashwood Cinema Solutions, creating new technology tools for post-production. As such, he keeps his eye on what's coming to help us get ready for it. Tonight, Tim shares his thoughts on what trends we can expect to arrive later this year. Next, Mike Woodworth began his career as an editor and post-production supervisor. Currently, he's the founder of Divergent Media, a post-production tools company creating software such as ClipWrap, EditReady, and ScopeBox. Tonight, he explains what his tools are and how they work. Next, Rollo Wenlock is the founder and CEO of Wipster. Wipster is a cloud-based digital media review and approval platform designed for content creators, media teams, and anyone creating short-form video projects. Tonight, we discover how to use Wipster for our clients. All this plus Tech Talk and a Buzz flashback. The Buzz starts now.
Digital Production Buzz is brought to you by Otherworld Computing at MacSales.com and by ImagineProducts.com, the workflow experts.
Since the dawn of digital filmmaking,
authoritative.
One show serves a worldwide network of media professionals.
Current.
Uniting industry experts,
Production.
filmmakers,
Post-production.
and content creators around the planet.
Distribution.
From the media capital of the world in Los Angeles, California, the Digital Production Buzz goes live now.
And welcome to the Digital Production Buzz, the world's longest-running podcast for the creative content industry, covering media production, post-production, and marketing around the world. Mike, it has been a long time since we were both sitting in the same room at the same time. It is good to have both of us back.
It has been a long time. How long has it been? It's been about a month?
Yeah, almost 3 weeks.
You were in London?
And you were...
I was here in Chatsworth?
Yeah, no. You were traveling somewhere.
Was I?
Yes, you were. You
No,
were.
I wasn't.
I
don't know. You always go to really cool places. I stay in Chatsworth. That's all I do.
You were looking at elephant seals or something.
No, I wasn't. No, did I?
Wherever it was.
Anyway,
you were gone first.
Welcome home, Larry.
Thank you. It's good to be home. Listen, I understand that NAB is coming up, which means Super Meet. What's going on? We haven't talked about that at all.
We are working on the Super Meet. Do we have an agenda yet?
Do you have an agenda?
No.
Why not?
Because we never do. It's all super secret. It's all super secret until you get close to the event date. Because we're dealing with a lot of people, and they're going to be showing a lot of new things, and they can't talk about the new things until we get close to
You're just disorganized, aren't you? It's really because you're not getting any work done.
Yes, that's exactly what it is, Larry. I'm disorganized.
Do we know where it is?
It is at the Rio Hotel on Tuesday, April 19th. And early bird tickets, by the way, end like next week. So get them now so you can save $5. And
well, how much does it cost if you don't get them?
$10. It's all it costs, $10.
You are so cheap.
I know.
And you're not going to even give us a hint of the agenda? Not even a small guess?
No. No.
Michael.
No. Are you coming, by the way? Are you going to NAB?
You haven't invited me.
No, come on. Really, seriously, I can get you a free ticket to the Super Meet.
Okay.
I'm producing it. I can get you in free.
I think I'm going to make a one-day trip.
In fact, we ought to give a bunch of people who are checking into the chat right now. We'll give them a free ticket.
Anybody that checks into the chat will get a free ticket.
Craig's in here. Craig,
by the way,
want a free ticket?
I want to remind you to subscribe to our free weekly show newsletter at digitalproductionbuzz.com. Every issue, every week, gives you an inside look at the Buzz. Comes out on Friday and has quick links to all the different segments on the show and curated articles of special interest to filmmakers. Mike himself has printed every issue and keeps it in a three-ring binder next to his desk because that way he can refer back to it and learn what the industry was doing a year ago.
I'm so smart.
By the way, Mike and I will be back with Tim Dashwood right after this.
Still to come on The Buzz.
When you're working with media, one thing is essential. Your computer needs peak performance. However, when it comes to upgrading your Mac, there are so many different options to choose from that the process can be confusing. That's why Otherworld Computing carries the best upgrades that lets your computer performance and storage grow as your needs grow. Since 1988, OWC has become one of the most trusted names in quality hardware and comprehensive support to the worldwide computer industry. With an extensive online catalog of Mac, iPhone, and iPad enhancement products, as well as a dedicated team of knowledgeable experts providing first-rate tech support, OWC has everything you need to take your current system to the next level. Whether you need to maximize your system's memory, add blazing speed, or enhance reliability, look no further than the friendly experts at OWC. Learn more by visiting macsales.com today. That's macsales.com.
Tim Dashwood is a director, a DP, an editor, and a stereographer with over 20 years' experience in the industry. He's also the founder of Dashwood Cinema Solutions, and now Tim has a new technology that he wants to talk about. Hello, Tim. Welcome.
Hi, Larry. How are you?
Mike and I are doing great.
Yeah, Horton's here.
Tim, I was just thinking, you've been a director, a DP, and an editor. What got you interested in developing software, which is an entirely different mindset?
Necessity. That's it. I mean, I wasn't trained in software development at all. You know, I went to film school, right? It really started. Here I was, 3D stuff, and the software just didn't exist for what I needed to do. So I taught myself how to program plugins. That was it.
Well, shifting gears now, you're a well-established developer. I mean, your Cinema Tools has got all kinds of toolkits that editors can use. And one thing I've noticed about you is that you tend to follow new technology, especially as it relates to video. Stereoscopic 3D comes first to mind, but stereoscopic 3D is kind of like last year's technology. What new techniques are you watching now?
Well, I kind of feel that stereo has just progressed, and that's how it happened for me. It was very natural. So I was working in 3D. I've been working in 3D for a really long time, and just kind of moved into virtual reality, more or less what we call cinematic 360. So this is spherical video, where we'll shoot a complete 360, look up, look down, a complete sphere. And we needed tools to be able to actually edit this stuff. And so that's why I started programming these tools this time.
Well, let me get a definition before we get too carried away, because I want to explore this 360 a bit more. But what's the difference between virtual reality, augmented reality, and 360-degree video?
That's a great question. Okay, so virtual reality is pretty much anything that is a virtual reality. So like a video game, for example. What we usually, when we say VR, we usually mean an immersive experience where you have a headset, like I have an Oculus Rift here, right? So you'd be wearing this and you'd be looking around. But in a video game, which is a complete virtual reality, you can walk around. You are seeing computer-generated images in real time. So it takes a lot of processing power, obviously. In augmented reality, you would have, for example, a video camera on the front of the headset. So you'd be seeing the real world with something augmenting that real world image. So wherever you look, it would be like a heads-up display. So if you think of, you know, the Terminator's point of view in the Terminator movie, right? That would be augmented reality, where he sees all that heads-up display stuff. And then cinematic 360 is obviously real world video. It's spherical, but as it is right now, the viewer can't control where he goes. The director of the content is the one who decides where the camera placement is. So it's kind of like playing a video game, but only being able to control the head of your character. And that's the basic difference between the three.
Tim, I'm looking at you, and in the background, you look like you're in a motion capture studio.
Oh, yeah. We have a late-night session going on. I should show you guys what's going on. So we do a lot of, like, video game-type stuff. Actually, we can see... Yeah. I don't know, can you guys see that screen there?
We can.
Loud and clear.
Okay, so you can see that the two guys here, we're working on a video game tonight, so they're just motion capturing one particular move. And so for a video game project, when we have a client come in, generally we'll build a library of moves. And those are the moves that the character does. And so the team that I work with here, they're one of the leading fight and stunt coordinating teams. And we're up in Toronto. So basically anything that comes through Toronto, whether it's feature film, that needs virtual stuntmen or real stunts, or video games that are done up here, chances are we've had our hands in it. We're the only commercial mocap studio in Toronto.
Seriously, that's really?
Yeah, and we also specialize in Hong Kong wire work. So these guys are working on a move right now, which is involving a wire. So they'll do like a slight fight move, and then someone's going to get pulled on the wire. We also have this, like a zip line here as well. I don't know if you can.
We can see it.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. So our volume here, we have 20 feet by 30 feet by 16 feet high. So it's not the hugest mocap volume in the world, but it's pretty good for doing fight action. And that's primarily what we do. So yeah, this is just kind of a typical day here. I've also converted this studio into a virtual holodeck. So, we've done it, which is a lot of fun. So we've done demonstrations where we've actually had high school physics teachers come in on their professional development days. And so they're the greatest to work with because for the holodeck, I loaded up the bridge of the Enterprise. So they're all Star Trek fans, right?
How fun.
Yeah, so I'll set a chair in the center of the room, and they won't necessarily know what the model is that we have loaded. And then they'll put the headset on, and then we'll turn on the simulation, and suddenly they're sitting in the captain's chair. But then, because this is a room-based virtual reality, they can stand up and walk around the volume in the room, and all of our cameras, we have 20 motion capture cameras, which basically they just transmit infrared light, and they get a reflection from these little balls. Everyone's seen the little balls, right? The little reflective balls. So it's much better tracking, in an Oculus Rift. Like we wouldn't even use this for our room-size virtual reality. We use different headsets because all we need to do is put markers on the head-mounted display, and we know exactly where the person is in 3D space and where they're looking.
Just curious about the motion capture cameras. Are they GoPros? Are they DSLRs? Or what are they?
Oh, no, they're completely proprietary.
Oh, they are?
So, yeah, we have two systems. This is an OptiTrack system, which is actually our new one. Our old system is by a company called Vicon. They both basically work the same way, but our Vicon system, we had a big flood and lost half the cameras in the flood, so it's now our small movement. So if we want to do facial capture, then it's basically set up like in a small array. And so we can just have an actor sitting there and do the small work. So they're working on this move now. So the fight coordinator is, you can see on the wires there. I just thought it'd be more interesting to do the interview here instead of my office with whiteboards and mathematical equations.
Well, I just want you to know that nobody's paying any attention to you. We're all watching the guys
just watching
behind.
the background. It's so much fun.
Tim, I have a question, though, because you're a director, so put your director's hat on for a second.
Sure.
One of the challenges that we have as directors in storytelling is that we want to direct the attention of the audience, or more importantly, many times we want to misdirect the attention of the audience, especially in mysteries where they think they're seeing, but they're not really seeing. That seems to be impossible in a 360 video environment because there's no direction. And you would argue it's like theater in the round, but even theater in the round, the audience is in the round, the actors are not in the round. So how do we storytell in a 360 video environment?
In all honesty, we're still learning how to do that. This point that we are, 2015 or 2016 now, it's like we're right at the beginning of the filmmaking process that's going to happen. And I feel like we're not there yet. We've seen some interesting stuff, but most of it is stationary camera, which gets really boring really quickly. And so we can put a stationary camera, the director can tell the actors what he wants them to do, and it's kind of like where we go hide somewhere. We can't even really do proper lighting. We have to hide all the lights and everything. And you just hope for the best. The type of VR that I like to work in is where we're actually starting to move the camera, create something dynamic. And for example, how do we do close-ups? We don't have different focal lengths of lenses even, because our field of view is always 360 degrees. Plus, we never know where someone is going to be looking. So we could have some action over there and hoping that they're looking over there, but they're actually looking over there.
Have you seen a story? Have you seen a film that has been done in VR that you would say, hey, watch this. This is the one that we want to emulate? Or, I mean, because all I've seen out there is stuff that's not that good. Yeah.
So I've seen some interesting things. Most of them are short subjects. You know, you have directors like Doug Liman who are working on a series. I have no idea what that series is about. Right. But I'm really curious. And
they're using your plugin.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they are. A lot of people are using our plugin. We were the first ones to, you know, do this stuff. Like I say, I write this stuff for myself, and then we decide, well, we might as well release it, right? But I don't know. Back to your question, what I really like to tell people is there's some music videos that Verse out of New York did. There was one for U2, but the one for Muse, I really, really like. I think they did just a fantastic job on it.
Say that again. How do you spell that?
Muse, M-U-S-E.
Oh, M-U-S-E. So, okay.
Yeah, the company Verse is V-R-S-E.
Okay.
And I believe they did those for Apple Music. I think it was a promotion with Apple Music. And man, they just did a really great job. And the thing is that the VR that I like is stereoscopic VR. And a lot of people are, at the moment, just shooting monoscopic VR, which is really just 6 cameras pointing the 6 different directions. You stitch them all together. It's much more complicated to do stereoscopic 3D, but that's what I've always concentrated on. And like I say, it was a natural transition into this from stereo 3D.
Okay, but you said something that caught my attention. You said that you've created some plugins for 360 video. Why do we need plugins? What problems are we fixing?
Okay, so once we stitch all of the outputs from the cameras together, we get what's called an equirectangular projection. And, you know, this has been around for hundreds of years. You know, the cartographers figured this out when they needed to make a map of the world that would lay flat. So if you look at the map of the world, the poles, the North Pole and the South Pole and Antarctica, looks gigantic, looks huge, stretches basically through the whole projection. And that's the equirectangular projection. So that actually is what you're looking at when you are editing video. It looks okay in the center, but as you approach the poles, it's all stretched out. Someone could be standing there and their legs start really doing this. So it's very difficult to edit that stuff together and know what the end product is going to look like. So for me, you know, I was working on this stuff and it was very trial and error. So we'd have to edit it together. I'd have to export it. And we all know as video editors, that takes time. And then we'd have to look at it in a viewer. And, you know, that's why I just got frustrated one day and I said, there has to be another solution. And so we built, it's an app and a plugin that takes the output from Premiere Pro, After Effects, or Final Cut Pro. And then we send it directly to the Rift in real time, and it's running at 60 frames per second. There's 0 latency. So when a cut happens on your timeline, it happens in the headset. So it's extremely important. But then we also have tools. Let's say you want to rotate the whole sphere to match up an actor who's in one position. So let's say he's at 0 degrees and someone else is at 45 degrees in the next shot, and you want to do a cross dissolve between those 2 actors. Well, I have tools that can do that. So you want to add blur. You can't add a normal Final Cut Pro filter that you just throw on there. I had to design special filters that affect the poles and don't create a seam where it wraps around on the sphere. So it just goes on and on. If you want to place a logo, I had to create a new virtual camera system that basically does slit scanning. So it takes a little tiny slit at every degree of rotation, but it's actually even more than that. If you have a 4K file, it takes 4,096 little slits per eye.
Wow.
Per frame. So you can imagine that's, you know, it's pretty heavy duty on the GPU, but You know, this is working in After Effects. It's works beautifully in Final Cut Pro.
Do you have a favorite camera? There's several cameras out there. There's a high-end camera such as Nokia, which has what is it, the Uzo, and then there's the Jaunt, which has 24 cameras.
Yes. So those types of cameras are working in stereoscopic 3D, but instead of pairing up cameras, like typically you'd see GoPros where you'd have 12 cameras, which are basically 6 pairs pointing in the 6 different directions. What these cameras do is they're essentially volumetric. So they're taking a whole lot of images, and in post-production software, their own proprietary software, they're running an algorithm to figure out the depth, where everything is. And then they're producing the left eye and right eye that you work with at that point. So those are very expensive systems. They're proprietary. Right. Well, Nokia, I guess you'll be able to buy, but I think it's $60,000.
But you can't rent it.
Yeah,
hopefully
it might be.
Well, somebody's going to rent it.
Yeah, Jaunt is a production company that services. Well, they service other production companies, so you can rent their camera. And Google also has their rigs. I think the Odyssey, and it's 16 GoPro cameras in a ring. So I don't think they're shooting the Zenith and the Nadir, but they are doing a full panoramic. So, there's some stunts going on back there.
I know. We could watch this all day.
Tim, for people that need more information on 360 video and your plugins, where can they go on the web to learn more? Because there's a lot to learn. Yeah,
our website is dashwood3d.com, and it's pretty easy to find the plugins there. Of course, we still have our Stereo 3D plugins. We have my Editor Essential plugins. Everything is there. And yeah, that's the best place to go, really. I am starting to do more blogging on there, so there should be more videos.
And Tim will be at the VR Pavilion at NAB, and
cool.
So you can actually talk to Tim in person.
And Tim Dashwood, Tim Dashwood is the founder of Dashwood Cinema Solutions. His website is Dashwood3D. Tim, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Larry.
Thanks, Tim.
Still to come on the Buzz.
Good night.
Imagine Products has been specializing in workflow applications for over 25 years. They started with Executive Producer back in 1991, an all-in-one logging and offline editing tool. In 2006, ImageMine was used in the Salt Lake City Winter Olympics, and ShotPut Pro was released. Today, there are more than 30,000 ShotPut Pro users worldwide. Pre-roll Post for Macintosh was released in 2012. This is an LTFS archiving application compatible with any LTO tape drive, as well as Sony's ODA. Pre-roll Post for Windows was released at the end of 2015. It's the only LTFS archiving application of its kind for less than $500. Imagine Products has 3 simple goals for its software: make it powerful, make it easy to use, and make it affordable. It's easy to see why Imagine Products has been successful for 25 years. Imagine what comes next. Visit ImagineProducts.com to download a demo.
Mike Woodworth started in our industry 15 years ago as an editor in post-production and supervisor. Then he launched Divergent Media, a post-production software company based in San Francisco, and he's the creator of ClipWrap, EditReady, and ScopeBox. Hello, Mike. Welcome.
Hey, Larry. How you doing?
Mike, how would you define Divergent Media? What do you guys do?
We are a tools company in production video. Goal is to solve video producers' problems.
So why did you decide to start the company?
Because I had lots of problems when I was producing.
What were some of the problems you wanted to solve?
Well, our first product, ScopeBox, which came out almost 10 years ago, came from my needs as a colorist and finishing editor at the time. So it was right around the transition from SD to HD, and hardware scopes were just too expensive. And so making a software solution was a cost-effective way for everyone to get a set of scopes, produce better-looking video.
I didn't realize that ScopeBox was your first product. That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? What came next?
Next, we produced a product called ClipWrap, which was our AVC HD and HDV rewrapper. We sort of coined the phrase rewrapping. So anytime you had a transport stream and wanted to get it into QuickTime format for editing, it was the simple tool for doing that.
Okay, now you've left off one. What's one that you've left off? We've got ClipWrap and we've got ScopeBox, and then there's what?
And our new tool is EditReady. That came out about 2 years ago, and the whole goal with EditReady was to create a tool that would do the same things that ClipWrap did, but for all of the new cameras coming out. Anything from an iPhone to an Alexa. The goal was to have sort of a soup to nuts tool that could take any of these cameras that you're going to see in the field now and get them all into an edit-ready format.
Well, wait a minute. We can do that now with Media Encoder or a compressor. Why should we get a third-party program like EditReady?
Well, we really are trying to position the tool in that transition from when you go from production to post-production. So Media Encoder, compressor, those are general-purpose transcoding tools. We've positioned EditReady specifically in this stage when you're trying to take all of your camera footage and bring it into editorial. So we have a bunch of tools to make we have an easier workflow, and we have features such as file renaming based on metadata, a full metadata editor, the ability to preview with LUTs easily, simple drag and drop, batching.
Now, you mentioned that this is wrapping. I want to try and get an understanding of the difference here. Are we simply changing the container that holds the media, or are we actually transcoding it into a different format? For instance, would I use EditReady to take, say, an AVC HD or an MTS file and transcode that to ProRes, or is that above and beyond what the application does?
We can do both. ClipWrap, our earlier tool, was designed principally for rewrapping. EditReady will do both, and it really is designed for these mezzanine codecs, ProRes, DNX. We will rewrap as well, so if you are, if you're bringing in AVC HD media or HDB media, we can easily rewrap that. We can also rewrap media like H.264-based MXF media. So if you just need to get that into a container that you can upload to Vimeo, say, we can pull the essence out of MXF and put that into a QuickTime wrapper.
How would you define the difference between wrapping and transcoding for people that, like me, get kind of confused about that?
Sure. So there are two technical issues at play when you're trying to support a media format coming off of a camera or out of an editing host. There's the codec that the media is encoded in, and then there's the wrapper, which is the format that codec is placed into a file. So QuickTime, MP4, MXF, AVC HD, those are all container formats. H.264, ProRes, DNX HD, those are codecs, and that is just determining how the video information is stored inside one of those containers. So every file is a container of some kind. It contains either compressed media or uncompressed media. That is the codec.
Okay, so then ClipWrap would change the container, and EditReady has the option of changing the container or transcoding the media inside it.
Correct. So EditReady is basically our it's our replacement for everything that ClipWrap did. We do a number of other cameras as well. So ClipWrap just did HDV and AVC HD. EditReady, we support movie files, MP4s, MXFs. So the goal behind it is to make it really simple. As editors nowadays, lots of productions will say they're going to shoot on an Alexa. And then the day the shoot comes, your assistant camera person has a DSLR and they shoot some pickup shots. The producer shoots, one or two things on their iPhone. And so what we want to do is make it really simple as an editor, to just throw all this stuff into EditReady, say, I need ProRes for my edit, and we'll take everything, we read the metadata in those files, transfer all of it into common formats. We also know that, the best way to get from iPhone footage to ProRes is to do this to the frame size. The best thing to do to get from Alexa to ProRes is to do this. And so each file is sort of there's a path inside the app that sort of hand encodes the best possible format. So, the goal is to get your media into a single format at the highest quality for each source format.
Well, I want to shift gears back because codecs are my life, and Mike could falls asleep during it.
Did you see the graphs where EditReady, just kicks butt over a compressor?
But I want to shift back to one of your first toys, which is ScopeBox.
Mm-hmm.
I understand you've got some news here on ScopeBox that we should pay attention to.
Yeah, we've got, it's actually news for both apps. So the big thing we launched a week ago was integration between the two apps. So if you're an EditReady user and you load a bunch of footage, using a technology that we built a number of years ago called ScopeLink, you're now able to scope your footage. So as you play footage in EditReady, you can watch that in ScopeBox with a full set of scopes. So waveform vector scope, parades, a number of custom tools that we have. And then just yesterday, we announced a new integration with a third-party Pomfort, the DIT tools company out of Germany. We're supporting their SilverStack application as a ScopeLink source as well. So, for a number of these media ingest platforms now, in the DIT toolkit, you're able to load your media in in either EditReady or Pomfort SilverStack and get a full suite of QC tools there on set without having hardware scopes or having to transcode things into some sort of format that other software scopes support.
That's very cool. Tell us about Pomfort. This is a company that I haven't heard a lot about.
So Pomfort's out of Germany. They make DIT tools. So SilverStack, the one that we've integrated with at this point, is offloading. It's a camera offloader. It's a series of color management tools. It's really designed for on-set camera offload, look management, things like that.
One of the things that we were chatting in the last segment about with Tim Dashwood is sort of some new technology that's coming. One of the new technologies that I'd like to get your take on that we'll probably hear a lot more at NAB is HDR. Have you had a chance to experiment with that at all, and do you have any opinions, or is it too early for us to even think about that?
No, HDR is going to be interesting because we're getting to a place now where scopes are no longer about legality per se. So this is something we're doing a lot of research in at the moment, and a lot of conversations with people from ACES and HDR, wide gamut, all of these various technologies. What they mean at this point is that a scope is more of an artistic tool than a broadcast legality issue at this point. So when we launched, the whole thing was, the whole point of having scopes was to make sure that you stayed below 100 IRE and that your colors hit in the vector scope. And nowadays, they're artistic tools. And so we're finding that most of our ScopeBox customers are colorists now, who are going to E3 or Rec 2020 or film even, laying back film. And so it's not an issue of broadcast engineering anymore. It's an issue of, camera matching, frame matching, stylistic decisions, knowing whether you're crushing your shadows or whether or not you're losing detail or banding. And so that's really something we're starting to look at a lot more in the scope arena, is how we're all going to manage these artistic decisions.
I think that's an incredibly important issue, especially because HDR is such a different visual environment from what we've been used to all these years. Mike, where can we go on the web to learn more about the products your company offers?
So our website is divergentmedia.com. You can also check us out on Twitter. It's divergent_media, or we're on Facebook as well.
And Mike, congratulations on the baby.
Thank you. It's going to be the first time
It's going to be awesome.
At NAB.
It's going to be wonderful. Yeah, I'll miss you at NAB, but it'll be awesome.
And Mike's website is Divergent Media, all one word, divergentmedia.com. Mike Woodworth is the founder and CEO of Divergent Media. Mike, thanks for joining us today. This has been interesting.
Thanks, Larry.
Still to come on the Buzz. Welcome to Tech Talk.
Philip asks, could you please discuss the correct positioning or stacking of effects in the inspector? For example, should the broadcast safe filter be placed at the top or the bottom? I'll show you. If I have a clip here and I apply, say, the color corrector to it, for whatever reason, I'll just drag the color corrector. Notice the color corrector is right here in the top right. The broadcast safe filter, let's just find it, click all, broadcast safe. All right. The broadcast safe filter should always be at the bottom of the effects stack, always at the bottom of the effects stack. Effects process from top to bottom. So the first one that gets processed is color correction. Then the output of color correction goes into broadcast safe. Then the output of broadcast safe goes into all of the video inspector settings. Effects flow from top to bottom. If, for instance, just to give you an example, see if I've got a blur. Yeah, let's just do, we'll just add a blur. No, I don't want to add a blur. Do I have a border? Do I have a border? Yeah. And then I'll do color. Okay. So if I have a border here, and I select the border, and I'm going to make this color green, and we'll make it really big because we want to see it. And then I have the color corrector, and I'm going to take saturation, pull it all the way down. Notice that first I add the border, and then I desaturate. I've lost the green color of the border. If color correction goes first, notice that I desaturate the image first, then the output of the color corrector goes into the border, and now I see the green border. So the stacking order of your effects changes the effect that you can achieve. The top effect is processed first, and it flows from top to the bottom of the inspector.
Rollo Wenlock is an entrepreneur and filmmaker interested in helping us make better films. He's also the founder and CEO of Wipster, which is a digital media review and approval platform designed for content creators, media teams, and anyone creating short-form video projects. Hello, Rollo, welcome.
Hi, and thanks for having me. How you doing?
I am doing great because I really want to learn more about Wipster. So before we get into all the latest news and gossip, describe what Wipster is.
Sure. So Wipster is the singular place in the cloud where when you're producing video with clients or within your team, you have a singular visual spot to keep everything up to date. You can see what version you're up to in your edit. You can see who's involved with the review. You can remind people to join in on the conversation. And really what we're doing is putting all of the crafting and the creativity of video makers and clients and everyone into one place so that they can all have a visual review experience.
Well, why did you decide to create Wipster in the first place?
Well, I come from a background of 17 years as a professional video producer and filmmaker. And what it was like was everything was separate. Everything was hidden. You'd be emailing someone, you'd be phone calling someone. And really, if you're a visual person and you're working in the visual arts, you need to have something very visual and something very simple. So I was looking around, looking to see if there was other products that I could use. And there were a few around, but they were kind of heavy going. They were not so visual. They were list-based. You had to click a whole lot of buttons. And I thought, why don't we simplify that right down and go to the singular idea of saying, if there's a video being produced, make the conversation happen on top of that video while it's being produced and invite everyone in. And that has proven to be very successful.
Well, last week we spoke with some folks from Arc9, and we also spoke with folks from Movidium, both of whom make cloud-based collaboration sites.
Yeah.
How would you distinguish Wipster from the other competition that's out there? In other words, why would somebody consider using Wipster for their projects?
Absolutely. So the overarching difference that we have from almost every other collaboration product out there is that we've built the product for the use case of the customer of the video maker. And what I mean by that is that a video producer and editor is often quite a technical person. They can understand frame rates and codes and all those things. But they're often working with people who sometimes it's the first time they've ever worked with a video. It might be somebody in marketing. It might be the CEO of a big company who's coming in to review a video. And we've absolutely focused on making their experience so simple, it's like using Facebook or Twitter. They can come in, they can click a link in an email that they receive. The video opens, it already knows who they are. So as soon as they start clicking on top of that video, making comments, it's got their name attached to it. They get these very simple email updates with all of the comments they've made and the replies from other people and people ticking off to-dos. And so we've really made this incredibly simple experience for video producers and their teams to invite non-technical customers and clients who can just be involved at the click of a button.
I was just reflecting, Movidium focuses on the Rolodex and getting people together for the crew, and Arc9 focuses on project management. You've really taken the idea that now we're pretty much done with the editing, and we've created the finished project, and what you do is everything revolves around the video that's been created. So you're like at the back end of the process where people are reviewing. Is that a true statement?
That is close. What I'd say is that all the way, we see so many customers going all the way from the very first, what you'd call an animatic, so the first cut together of drawings or stills to give an idea of what the story is that they're going to produce. And we're seeing them use Wipster all the way from that point, which is in production. This is almost pre-production. And they have the project there, and people are starting to converse. And you'll see people getting up to edit number 17. And some people get scared by the idea of going, edit 17, this must be so inefficient, what's going on here? And what I want to say is that there's actually a change happening. There's a huge shift in the way that creatives work with clients. And you see it across everything. You see it through agency, through video, through print, through audio, through anything. Is that instead of the creative and their agency being the siloed people who create great content and then give it to their customer, and there's like a boss paying and someone who's just doing the work, you're seeing that these people are coming together. And they're viewing, the creatives are viewing their customers as creative, because everyone is. It's just some people don't think they are. And they're saying, join in all the way from the very beginning. We want to brainstorm with you. We want to do the first potential edit, and we want you to talk all over it. We want all your ideas. We want to keep you involved every step of the way, all the way through to the end. And what you see is that you have people uploading edits every day, sharing them out, getting new ideas, and really getting into that engine of iterate, change, and going through the fire of does this video work? Does it suck? Is everyone happy? And by the end of it, you've gone through the creative slump, and then you get to the creative genius. The old way is that you make stuff, you think your clients don't know what's going on. You make stuff, you give it to them and tell them, this is good because I know what's good. They feel a little bit unengaged from it. They publish it, but they don't really care. And maybe there's no repeat business. So our product is all about getting those people together, get them all activated, and then get repeat business. Let's make that happen.
It could be said, there's an old saying that a camel is a horse designed by committee. If you've got everybody's and their cousins' thumbs in this video, has it sort of lost its little energy?
So that is a very good question, because that is a fear that some people have. And I think one of the things that we as a company are trying to overcome is this old idea of collaboration, where anybody that you invite into the story is there as a slowing down mechanism versus a speeding up one. And when we look at that, instead of everybody can say anything they like and everybody has to listen and you have to do every change that someone says, it's the idea of you control the review process. So you set a schedule, you set what's being talked about at what time, you invite just the right people at the right time, and you go through a process. You still end up with 17 edits, and by the end of it, it's a fantastic film. But you, as the creative, are listening to the right people. The reviewer knows what they can and can't say at what time, and they know what sort of comments will be listened to and changed and what won't. And what you see there is that when everybody is conversing on top of this video and they can all see each other's comments, there starts to be a creative respect that happens. Because with email chains and phone calls, things can be hidden. You can, leave 7 people out of it and say a couple of things and they don't know what's going on, and then you start to lose the thread. But because everyone's there, they can all see what's going on, is that it keeps people creatively honest, and it keeps them in line with what the objective of the video is. So there's a lot of, the video creative has to do a bit of work to keep their production online. It can't just be throw some work out there, tell everyone in their company, 10,000 people start making comments. Like, that is a crazy review process. I wouldn't recommend that to anyone. But if you have your process and you use a product that makes it very visual and easy to use, I think you'll have success.
Well, one of the things that's happening is Wipster's been growing, and recently you had a really big announcement. What's the latest news? So the latest news is that we've been working with a big video company called Vimeo, and we just announced an exclusive partnership with them where we are the video review and approval option inside the Vimeo platform. So anybody with a Vimeo Pro account can link from Vimeo straight to us. It's all integrated in the back end. And you can bring any video into Wipster, do your review process, do iterations, upload new versions, and then publish it back to Vimeo in a seamless way. If you have a Vimeo Plus account, you can also publish back to Vimeo, but you can't use the import. And we have a special price, so there's 20% off to buy our product when you integrate it with Vimeo. And for us, this is fantastic. We're an early stage startup. We've been around a couple of years, and to be validated by being connected with this company, the response has been enormous. We've had people from every corner of the globe coming through and seeing our product and loving it, which is really, really nice. That is very exciting. Congratulations. Thank you. So let's take a step back. Where do people go to become a member of Wipster? What's involved in signing up? And how do I use the product? Walk me through that first time, I'm nervous, I don't know what I'm doing kind of stage. Yeah, for sure. So there's if you go to wipster.io, you can come straight to our site, and the sign up is very, very simple. There's a button on the front that says sign up. Hold it a second. It's wipster.io, not wipster.com. There's wipster.com as well, but we use wipster.io. You can go to either. Okay, please go ahead. Another one. So the thing that we have there is that you can sign up to a free trial. You put in your credit card so that you don't have to worry about that later, but you're not charged for 2 weeks. And really, when you come through, it has a huge onboarding experience where it shows you exactly how to upload, how to invite people, how to make comments, how to set up a project, all those things. But it's very lightweight. And really, if you're in a production company or if you're in a team, the greatest thing to do is to come through, go through that onboarding, experience what it feels like, then add your team members so that you can start to activate everyone else in your company that needs to be in there. And that's people like producers, production managers, editors, videographers. Sometimes the head of the company wants to be involved. Get those people in there, give them a seat, because that means that they can see what's going on. The great value is that when you have a Wipster account, you can visually, very instantaneously, at any one time, see where you're at with all of your videos. Visually, you can see what stage they're up to. You can see who's involved. You can see who hasn't joined the conversation yet, all those things. And so the first thing to do is get those people involved, get them so that they understand that they all go through their own onboarding experience, and then just start uploading projects that you're working on and start inviting clients. And you'll see that instantaneously, instead of a week passing where they send you an email, within the same day, you'll start seeing comments come straight through. You'll start to see them pop up.
What was the thinking behind teaming with Vimeo? Why did you decide to pick Vimeo as your partner, or did they come to you?
So the thing with Vimeo is that when you look around online, the place that almost every video producer is on Vimeo. Every single video producer I've ever met has got a Vimeo account. It's the place where professionals hang out. It's where creatives hang out. Unlike something like YouTube, where that's much more of a just anything on the web. This place it's a community. You know, they've got over 700,000 paid video producers who have accounts with them who run their business on Vimeo. So for us, it makes absolute sense that we would partner with the #1 place for creatives, because we're the tool that we want all those creatives to use to succeed even more in their business. Okay.
Once I've posted a video to Wipster, and people have added comments, I assume they're just typing comments. How do I pull the comments back, and can I sort them and decide which ones I want to implement and which ones I don't? What's that conversation look like at the back end?
Yeah, sure. Every single comment is put into an automatic to-do list, and then that to-do list is available to anybody in your team, and then they can just flick through, look at the thing. They can either reply and say, hey, I can't change that because we don't have the shot, or do you mean this music, and drag a file in there. And then from that point on, you're ticking off the changes, or you're joining the conversation and trying to find a better idea, and then you're up to uploading version 2. You drag it on top of version 1, you end up with a stack, and you invite them all again, or you invite the people you want again. And then you go through the process again. And so the conversation is just rolling, and it rolls through versions, and it rolls through ideas, and it rolls through changes, until at the very end, when you say, this is the final, you upload a high-res file to us, we keep hold of the high-res file, you send it out for approval, all the clients click approve, and then they can download the high-res file, or you publish the high-res file to Vimeo and then send it out to the world. So we take care of all of the back end of encoding and sending of high-res files, so you don't have to use anything else. You don't have to worry about Dropbox or any of those things, because the whole thing is taken care of. And really soon, we're just about to announce that we have a great plugin with Adobe, which means that in Adobe Premiere, we're going to have a plugin right inside the product, where from the timeline, one-click publishing to us, one-click inviting people straight from the timeline, and then all those comments that they make come straight back to the timeline. You can do changes from there, upload another version, and then publish directly to Vimeo again as well. So that'll mean that your whole process is 10 clicks shorter again, which will be really fun.
We can't go a day in the States without reading about some new company that's been hacked or security issues, and all of the videos are being stored on the cloud. How are you making sure that our stuff stays both secure and private? Yeah,
so every single account is under SSL 256 security, which is the same as a bank. The chances of someone cracking that is very, very low. We take the security very, very seriously, and we audit ourselves every month to make sure that everything is at the top notch. And with our enterprise customers, the bigger companies that need a lot more from us, we also offer things like authenticated share, which means videos can only ever be shared with somebody who already has an authenticated account, which means that a link can never be sent to anyone else. And we also have things like links can expire. You can just cancel a link, which means if it gets into the wrong hands, you jump into your account, hit gone, and they can't access it anymore. And everything is encrypted. So even if somebody somehow got access to something, they can't read it anyway. So really, the security is very, very high. If somebody gets your login information, that's a problem that every app in the whole world has. But if you look after your login information, no one's getting access to your media.
And Rollo, where can we go on the web to learn more information about your company?
Sure. You can go to Wipster, WIPSTER.io.
That's all one word, WIPSTER, Wipster.io. And Rollo Wenlock is the founder and CEO of Wipster. Rollo, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
It's time for a BuZZ flashback, 5 years ago today.
What's happening is the entertainment industry is somewhat on the tail end of it because we don't understand how it's supposed to get us work. But I want you all to remember, if you were on that tail end of getting a reel together, if you were on the tail end of putting up a website with your real, you know that you lost jobs because of that. Right. So take that as a warning, because social media is getting people in entertainment jobs now.
This was a BuZZ Flashback.
You know, Mike, I was just thinking, the show tonight was about new technology, whether it's cloud-based collaboration.
Yeah, it absolutely
with Wipster.
Was.
We're looking at new ways of working with ClipWrap and ScopeBox and virtual reality with Tim. I know that you're looking at virtual reality for the Super Meet. What are you finding out?
Well, Tim and I have actually been talking for about the last 2 weeks, and he's been very, very kind, very, very sweet to get me up to speed on virtual reality. I've also been educating myself in as much as I possibly can. And I know you feel that virtual reality is kind of like the buzzword, like 3D, but
I think it's like stereoscopic 3D. You're doing a theatrical film, you can do nice 3D, but it's not going to be major market. I think VR is going to be beautiful for games, but I'm not sure it's going to expand into the main market. But you might
tend
disagree.
to agree with you, but I think that maybe we're both wrong.
Wouldn't be the first time.
No, and I only see that because the people that I talk to, the people that are doing this kind of thing, are so excited.
Yeah.
Like it was 15 years ago when the whole digital revolution started. I never saw that with 3D, but I'm seeing that with VR or 360 video or augmented reality. All this stuff, of course, is different. But I think there is money to be made here, and it's just a matter of seeing what happens. And these people who are doing it right now, these people are much smarter than us. I think they're doing some really wonderful things.
I think we're going to learn more at NAB. I think we're going to see a whole explosion of VR.
And hopefully at the Super. We're trying it. We're trying to do it at the Super Meet. It's really hard.
I want to thank our guest for tonight, Tim Dashwood, the founder of Dashwood Cinema Solutions, Mike Woodworth, founder of Divergent Media, and Rollo Wenlock, the founder and CEO of Wipster. There's a lot of history in our industry, and it's all posted to our website at digitalproductionbuzz.com. Here you'll find thousands of interviews, all online and all available to you today. And remember to sign up for our free weekly show newsletter that comes out every Friday that gives you all the details you need on this show and shows past. Talk with us on Twitter at DPBuzz and Facebook at digitalproductionbuzz.com. Our theme music is composed by Nathan Doogie Turner, with additional music provided by smartsound.com. Text transcripts are provided by Take One Transcription. Visit takeone.tv to learn how they can help you. Our supervising producer is Serena Catania. Our show producer is Debbie Price. Our engineering team is led by Brianna Murphy and includes Ed Golia, Keegan Guy, and James Miller. On behalf of Mike Horton, that's the handsome guy on the far side of the table, my name is Larry Jordan, and thanks for joining us for the Digital Production Buzz.
Goodbye, everybody.
The Digital Production Buzz was brought to you by Otherworld Computing, providing quality hardware solutions and extensive technical support to the worldwide computer industry since 1988. And by ImagineProducts.com, specializing in workflow applications for over 25 years.
If you'd like to see more videos like this one, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. To stay connected and receive updates from the Buzz, sign up for our free weekly newsletter now. Or you can learn more about us on our website. And thanks for watching the Digital Production Buzz.